the foamy of the beer. I like that. It's got a nice foam. It's got a nice head. It's got a nice foam. Looks like Seattle won the battle. How about that? They sound Canadian. How about that? Yeah, the Canadian doctor that I guess grew up with, my friends. That was their children. Hung around the Canadians. Well, they were Ukrainian Canadians. And then they moved down to Texas because Canada has more of a socialized medicine system, so you can't really make a lot of money. So you can make a lot of money in being a doctor, and well, actually, you used to. Yeah, I mean, I guess you still do, but I think back in the day, you could really clean up being a doctor. So, well, I mean, you'd have to spend 10 years in school though. But it's worth it, right? We start making that bank. And then sometimes the good doctor would say, "Hey, how you doing, eh? How about that?" He would say "eh" a lot. How you doing, eh? How's your dad and how's your mom, eh? Stuff like that. A pretty nice fellow. Now, I've seen people unwind after work. My stepdad was an accountant and a businessman and a salesman. And so he was really stressed out, when he would come home from work. So he would just, sit down, plop down, and he'd watch the TV. My mom would have the dinner, have the eats ready and everything. Now, the doctor looked, I would say, he looked very tired. He looked exhausted. Like almost like he was drained by his work, So I think he relaxed on the recliner watching TV most of the time, after work. And then, the weekends he would do more, go see a movie and work in the shop and do more, I guess, recreational activities. How about that darn Sam Darnold? Well, the Super Bowl festivities went off without a hitch. Very, very nice day. Very great grilled pork chops and au gratin potatoes, green beans. Hanging out with mom and stepdad. So it was very good. The game was pretty enjoyable. I don't know if all the Super Bowl... we turned it away from Bad Bunny. So it looked like we started to watch the beginning of Butt Buddy. And Bad Boy Bunny or whatever. So we started to watch Butt Buddy. And then we were like, is he really? So we had read that he was going to just... speak Spanish there would be no English at all, and starts off in a field and everything, and there's, I guess it's like sugar cane harvesting for the Puerto Rican slaves or some shit from a colonial period or something, right? That's what it looked like to me. But like, was it social commentary? I didn't watch the whole thing, and then it just went into. I guess Bad Bunny is kind of going through his own Wizard of Oz kind of set. Like he's jumping from there's people serving food and drinks, and then there's hot girls in bikinis, and he's going from place to place. I'm not sure what he's saying or what's going on. I don't speak Spanish. I'm not Hispanic. I'm not Latino, so I had no idea what he was saying. I took Spanish in high school and then Spanish for college, and they had one day. I think one day in Spanish class we had to speak it for like an hour or two. Yeah. So but I can't really catch it, as it comes easily. Just catch it I have to think about it a little bit. So, or a lot actually. Do I recognize any of these phrases or any of these words? It's something it's probably terrible to learn Spanish maybe from an artist, because an artist in a native tongue, if I'm in my native tongue of English, I'm gonna write the most eccentric shit I can, and that's probably not good for learners necessarily that want to learn, because I'm gonna know every single in and out and trick of my language, and I'm gonna know how to make it as eccentric as I can, as confusing as I can. So it's gonna be the top tier. I'm gonna be one of the top tier of my language, and so one of the highest levels. And so likewise, if a guy's intentionally not speaking English and he's speaking Spanish, and let's say he's a high level artist in Spanish, he's probably going to make it as inaccessible as possible to gringos and non-Spanish speakers. I would think, or it would just be naturally inaccessible for the most part with the language barrier. So it is what it is, but. Everybody should have took Spanish, right? The 6 months we could have been in college and taken an extra course and just read Spanish and spoke Spanish all day. What was the coolest thing about the Spanish class in college? They got a lot of hot Latina chicks in there. That was good. There's mostly, the best thing is there's a lot of hot chicks in Spanish class. So, yeah, that's a good thing. A lot of fresh chicks with nice booties and boobies, and they speak great English. They're just they're taking Spanish class because they already know Spanish. They want an easy A+, and then the Mexican teacher's pissed because she knows that what they're doing, and so she's like, just because you already know Spanish doesn't mean that I'm not going to grade you harshly, because I'm going to know who you are. That was fun. That was a funny speech in Spanish class, right? No, my Spanish class was memorable not just because of Dr. Reina Sirius Ortiz. Oh yeah, my memory's photographic, so I remember people's names like that. Yeah, and then there was this one girl who was really nasty. I call her too much information girl. This white girl that sat next to me. She was like, I got a wart next to my vagina. I was like, I just started my period today. I would just be like, Yeah, too much information, girl. Yeah, and then she would say like, I just cleaned my asshole. It's been like 5 days. Why are you telling me this? I don't know you. So that girl was memorable and funny because she would say like obnoxious shit all the time, disgusting shit about her personal hygiene or something. I gotta sit on my butt crack. I'd be like, what the fuck? I don't want to hear this. I'm here. I'm at the fucking college right now. We're in a Spanish class, so we're supposed to be learning Spanish, I guess. I don't know. Oh, that was funny about that class. They had the token black dude. Hey, I'm the black dude. Oh, I love that. I love that. Hey, I'm the black dude. That was great. I love when they have the token black dude. I love it when there's like one black dude. All right, is it maybe it's not so funny, you know, if it's lots of black dudes. But it's funny if there's like that one black dude, right? Like in Arkansas, you know, Hot Springs, Arkansas, when I lived and worked there at Lowe's Home Improvement Center, I was laughing because I was looking for, because I'm from Houston, so I was looking for black people and Mexican people. And, you know, in Houston, there are black people and Indian people and Asian people and all kinds of people in Houston, Texas, right? Like most metropolitan cities are rather diverse, if you will, especially in certain areas and certain ghettos and so forth. So, but this place called Hot Springs, Arkansas, it was mostly white back then. It's very, very Caucasian. And I was like, wow, look at this. You know, yeah, they have like, basically Arkansas is like, I guess it racially segregates itself. So it's like there's white parts and then there's like black parts, and maybe there's some, you know, mixing places. And, you know, I don't know how big the Latino community is in Arkansas, but Arkansas is kind of funny, you know, because it can be hilarious to go somewhere at a Walmart and it's like, where's the black dude at? And so at this Lowe's Home Improvement Center that I worked at, I was like, okay, there's white people everywhere. White people, white people, white people, white people, white people. And then I was like, oh, dude, I saw the guy in the back. There's one black guy back there. It's like, yes. I knew I'd find, you know Dave would be back there. You know Tyrell would be somewhere in there. I was like, that's what I was talking about, Dom. Yeah. I don't think there was there any Latino people at this entire place? I don't even think, you know. I think that there would be no ethnic and racial diversity in America now after the Democrats let in 10 to 12 million illegal aliens from foreign nations all over the world. I think since that happened, since Joe Biden and Kamala Harris opened the border in 2020, I think there still might be like, you know, super white pockets, you know, in Arkansas or some, you know, different places, mega white place, you know, mega white meccas in America that haven't been invaded by foreign nationals or whatever. I mean, illegal aliens and so on. Yeah, I know that they made that famously whites only place in Arkansas. They made that community that was only whites only. Only whites only. Yeah, so that was controversial. What do I think about whites only? You know, I mean, I think it's kind of... Would I call that racist? I call that, well, people are allowed to be Black Lives Matter or Black Panthers, right? So they're allowed to be blacktivists and so on. So I'm like, well, I guess people are allowed in the United States to be pro-white people and pro-Anglo as well. So you know what? If I have all the money, I buy a big swath of land and I say, this is the community called White Land. Well, this is only for Caucasians. You know, I don't know how legal that is. You know, go, only people of European descent, my people, that speak English or are of European descent, from my ancestors are allowed to be here. If they don't come from my own continent of my ancestors, then they're not allowed here. Yeah, I don't know how constitutional that would actually be. You know, I don't even know how constitutional it is in Arkansas where this colony is, but I know they tried to come up with a colony of a certain type of people, right? And in Dallas, it was a CARE, the Islamic. They were trying to create just an Islamic Arabic community in Dallas or something. Just some, you know, it was just Islam and Muslims, and yeah, the law was like, well, you can't really just create a place that excludes everybody based on their race and religion. So maybe that's a similar deal. Maybe all of that is unconstitutional to create a place that's just this is just for us, and everybody else is excluded, except for with one exception, of course, that America knows so well. Rich, the haves and the have-nots. Of course, that's allowed in American society, isn't it? Economic inequality. Now, having people richer than having elites and billionaires richer than the bottom. Yeah, somehow it is legal to have a top 1%, and it's somehow it's legal to have people that are wealthy, that are wealthier than the I don't know, bottom, whatever it is, 60-70% of American citizens or whatever, you know, whatever the math is. Somehow that's legal though, because the U.S. Constitution doesn't say, well, you can't be richer than other people in an odious amount. It doesn't say that, so that's why. It doesn't say in the American Constitution that it's illegal to be wealthier than the bottom 50% of the citizens in your country, right? However the math breaks down, I mean. I don't know if it's the top 50. No, it's, you can't be wealthier than. It doesn't say in the U.S. Constitution that you have a limit on your wealth, and that your wealth is an obligation to help other people in lower rungs in society. So that is not in the U.S. Constitution, obviously. So you could be like Patrick Bateman from American Psycho and walk by, you know, throngs of poor people and just say, ha, look at you losers, get a fucking job. Yeah. So yeah. So that's a fascinating thing. Money is power. Power is control. But freedom is in a lot of ways arbitrary, because not inconsequential, but it is almost superfluous to money and power and control that elites have in a given society. So as Dr. Jordan Peterson or someone would say, what's a king without a kingdom? What's a general without an army? And that's very true. What is a commander without legions? Or so people can't be kings if there is no kingdom for them. That is actually very true. I don't know. It's well, you can get a lot of data. You can get a lot of information. You can get a lot of interaction. You can get a lot of feedback. You can talk to a lot of people. But sometimes, unless you're really on the front lines, unless you're in the raw deep of it, you can really get the sense of what's going on in a really intimate way. And so if you reach out and you talk to a bunch of people, you can really get the sense of how they're feeling and what's going on. And you can really get all the data points, like to the point where you can almost tunnel vision focus and know, so you could tell the difference between a bias, and you could tell the difference between fact, and you could tell the difference. You could tell if you talk to enough people how they're feeling about the future, how they're feeling about themselves, how they're feeling about their country, how they're feeling about the world, how they're feeling about security, how they're feeling about religion, how they're feeling about Jesus, how they're feeling about God, how they're feeling about Satan, how they're feeling, and what they're thinking too. You can also tell that as well. So it becomes quite clear that if you talk to enough people, you can get an accurate reading of where they're at, So, and so the picture could be like a jigsaw puzzle, and it could be blurry and nebulous, but the more you get the information, then the clearer the picture can be. And eventually you can complete the puzzle just like a Rubik's Cube, and then the thing can be solved. So, I don't know, as a photographic eidetic memory savant, life seems like if I just know more and more, and I get more experience and I talk to more people, like I'm a player in a video game, if I just get more and more experience, the more I know, the more I'll grow. It just seems like the clearer the picture, like the whole puzzle could be. And just to be able to see the whole thing for the first time is quite enlightening, to just see what it really is, and to just be amazed by the scope of the reality that is our existence. Yeah. Will there be a big hurricane this year? That's what I saw in my dreams. I saw a devastating storm somewhere. I was in the eye of a hurricane, and there were winds whipping around, and I marveled at how powerful the storm was. I'm a weather aficionado. But the dream was scary, but it was also like a premonition. I saw the storm. It was coming. and the storm was going to be around me, and I was in the eye of the hurricane. And I could see the winds whipping around. It was very violent. It was very scary. But I also knew that it was coming. So that gave me hope because that gives me time to prepare for this. There's a big storm coming, and it's massive. Whatever I saw in my dream, it is coming, and it will destroy. It is a destroyer. It is a destroyer God, and it is going to rip up everything. But since I was able to see that in advance, I realized it's coming. And I do dream interpretation. So that's why I was able to see my dream like that. It was a beautiful dream, but it was also scary. As beauty is also scary. Because then you have to wrestle with the magnificence of existence. And that in itself is scary in and of itself. So, consciousness can not only reflect, but it can also project. And it could also, it could be like inception. It could work both ways. The consciousness could travel. The spirits can travel. They're not bound by any limitations. So if a really big major hurricane happens this year to the continental United States of America, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm going to say, well, I saw that months back in February. So if nothing happens, then you know what? Well, it was just a dream, right? That's what we tell ourselves every night we go to sleep. Well, it's just a dream. This is all just BS. Well, that's what the scientists tell us, right? The neuroscientists, they just say, well, you had a dream. And the psychiatrists and the psychologists, they just say, well, you just had a dream. Well, that's just nonsense. It's because your prefrontal cortex is shut off. So you dream like an animal. And that's why crazy shit happens, because your neofrontal cortex is shut off when you're dreaming. You're not really connected to a higher spiritual state. No. It's all mechanical. It's all just, this is all just scientific method and process. Just go back to sleep and take the blue pill, deal. Yeah, that's what they say. Do I actually believe that, though? Do I actually believe everything anybody tells me? Well, there is an ancient machinery called the human brain where you think about and you process what people are telling you. Are these people full of shit? Are their tenants full of shit? Am I being taught about evolution and human evolutionary psychology correctly? Or are all they full of shit? What the fuck do they know? Yeah, motherfucker might went to school for 10 years. What the fuck does that help me do? Well, it could also be bullshit. People really don't go to school because they think they have high accomplished masters, right? It's not like fucking karate. You know, you go to karate so Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee could fucking train you, right? And or whatever, Jean-Claude Van Damme, I mean. Yeah, people don't go to fucking karate school so people could shit out bullshit theories, right? Yeah, people go to karate school so they can kick motherfuckers' ass and kick them in the fucking dick and hit them through the heart and disable niggas. That's why people go to fucking martial arts school. So they paralyze motherfuckers and shit. Fuck up, people. So I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss because of what I'm hearing here. And it started in a Joaquin Phoenix movie. It was called Her. And the guy falls in love with the program Scarlett Johansson as his girlfriend. Now, me, I like the real deal. I'm getting real tit or I'm getting shit. I'm getting real ass or I'm getting grass. You know, I'm kind of an old school guy. Like, well, I'm either riding the wave or I'm down in the fucking I'm drowning in the ocean. So I'm kind of a realistic. I like the rawness, the terrestrialness of the terrestrial planet called Earth. I like that. I like the grit, the rawness of it. I like the shit. Like I like the fucking fight. I like the fucking guys going on Normandy Beach, storming with the bullets, burning their skin, blowing fuckers' legs off and shit. I love that viscerality, that reality of life, right? Fight a fucking dude and fucking like I like that fucking feeling of reality, right? Like it's great. If you touch fire, it's burn your hand. That's fantastic. I like that. But I do enjoy that. The viscerality of the reality. Is it better having an AI girlfriend than it is getting some real pussy? Is it better to have an AI girlfriend called Rachel, or is it better to fuck the real Rachel with the big tits and the fucking bushy blonde pussy with the long Pam Anderson hair? All right. Well, it's obviously better to fuck Rachel in real life than it is to like have a artificial intelligence girlfriend or robot. You're just fucking something that's not real, or you're trying to love something that's not even in exist. I mean, technically, an AI is in existence. Technically, if they make an AI of Rachel and they make a blonde girl with big tits, this is country style pussy. Okay. And a guy could buy it and he could hook that up and stick his penis into I don't know, some kind of simulated vagina. I mean, it would be like, it would be, I guess close or a facsimile of a reality, but it wouldn't be the same thing about getting the efforts that it would take to get a real girl. Well, that would take a lot of effort, wouldn't it? You'd have to like have a good job, or you'd have to work harder. You'd have to make a lot more money. I mean, you'd have to fucking give a fuck about your appearance. You'd have to give a fuck about your, fucking tact. You'd have to fucking meet her dad. You would have to do all sorts of shit that's uncomfortable, right? You'd have to jump through hoops to get Rachel's pussy. You would have to work really hard. You'd have to make a lot of money. You'd have to give a damn. And that might be too much for some people. But Cynthia is not the answer. The synthetic. Cynthia. The Cynthium is not the answer. So there's an old song. It's probably from Berry Gordy and Motown, but it goes like this. Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. Ain't nothing like the real thing. Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. Ain't nothing like the real thing. Ooh. There ain't nothing like the real thing. There's also a U2 song from Octune Baby, Attention Baby. Achtung, attention in German. Achtung, baby. Even better than the real thing. Yeah, you're the real thing. Yeah, you're the real thing. Yeah, you're the real thing. Even better than the real thing. Child. Doom, 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 doom. I know you know the one I'm talking about. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, doom, doom. Three Doors Down singer lost his battle with some kind of cancer. Kryptonite. Yeah, that was big in the 2000s. I'd be riding around in the 2000s and I'd turn on the radio when they play it. Would you still call me Superman with my superhuman strength? Na 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 na. With my kryptonite. Dan, dan. I always love that part. It always sounded almost like Heart. It almost sounded like Ann and Nancy Wilson. It was like dan 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 dan. Wasn't that part so cool? Yeah. If I'm alive and well, would you still call me Superman? Well, my superhuman kryptonite. That was really good. Actually, it was like, to be honest, it was not just like an Ozzy Osbourne song or it sounded like a Heart song really, and like an Ozzy song too. Like it sounded like a fusion between metal and pop. Like it was really brilliant. And then sound really raw, really rough. You're riding on the road, you're trying to survive. You hear, would you still call me Superman? My superhuman strength. Kryptonite. Shit was that was fucking excellent, And yeah, I have great memories, riding around listening to that. 3 Doors Down. Yeah, rest in peace, Dawn. That was a great one. Rest in peace, Dawn. To the Dawns. Ooh. He died of butt-ticular cancer. The whole part of dying's got to suck, I saw my stepdad die of cancer when I was a kid. It looked like it kind of sucked, you know what I mean? It was like, well, I fell on my ass. It's like, fell on my ass, fell in the shower. And that's when it starts. That's when you're like, oh shit, I'm going to die, right? When you fall on your ass, you pretty much know you're going to fucking die, right? When you got really bad cancer. Like, well, I busted my ass, but I'm like 35. You know you're going to be dead. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're like 42 and you're really, relatively healthy, you're like, you bust your ass in the shower, it's fucking, yeah, it's coming down to the wire. And so that's how it was with my stepdad, Rick. He bust his ass in the shower, and it was kind of like, uh-oh. This is the beginning of something pretty dark and ominous. And then the cancer eats you alive. Just like the 3 Doors Down singer, eats your cells. It mutates your cells alive from the inside. It eats you alive. It's a cancer. Cancers eat you from the inside. Yeah. And it's a genetic mutation. Apparently, medical people and scientists don't have a fucking cure for it. Yeah, fucking right. Does anybody believe that they don't have a cure for cancer? Or are people just profiting from people dying and getting sick? That's probably more the real truth, isn't it? Okay. You can send people to the moon and Mars, but you can't cure cancer. Oh, you can send drones to kill thousands of people, but you can't cure cancer. Let me get this straight. You can create artificial intelligence, but you can't cure cancer. I don't know. Something smells is it just fucking stinks. You know, it's just a yeah. So then the first fall on your ass when you have cancer, that's when you know, man. You know, or maybe you're pooping blood, maybe you're pissing blood. You know, maybe you got a growth or something like that. You know, you're fucked. You know, modern medicine aside, modern technology, and then oh man, and then when the cancer starts eating your cells apart, then you get like Scott Adams. Your face turns fucking green and white, and you're fucking there. Then all of a sudden you're like believe in God. All of a sudden, yeah. People believe in God when they get cancer because it's fucking horrible, right? Yeah, exactly. Yep. Well, because men are afraid to do one thing and only one thing, and it's not go to a social situation. It's not asking a girl out on a date. It's not even paying your taxes. It's not even standing in line at the DMV. What humans really fear is, at its core, people are afraid to die. Because death is the end of all possibilities of existence for an individual, you know. So that's why. So I saw my stepfather deteriorate from Hodgkin's disease. He got tumors in his spinal cord. So that's a place where a lot of the doctors couldn't operate. So they couldn't remove his tumors because they were too deeply embedded in his spinal cord. So he was crippled. And then his face turned green and white. Death white. This is a death throw face. All the while praying to God for his salvation. Where was God? Well, I guess God was on vacation. That life, I guess. I guess God takes a lot of vacations. And Jesus, I guess. Yeah, these guys, these celestial, powerful beings like to take a lot of it. They're not really paying attention to what's going on Earth very much, are they? Well, not my reckoning. They're not. So, then religious people, or supposed Christians, they're talking to artificial intelligence for advice. And I'm like, okay, are they turning to artificial intelligence because they think it has no judgment or any bias against them? Well, if it's programmed by humans or certain corporations or with certain agendas, then it does have a bias against your particular existence or your viewpoint. So how is that safe? If you talk with other people, then they just judge you by what they think of you, and they just judge you with the information that they have at hand. They don't pretend to be your friend. You know, is it always good for people to be your friend, or is it more illuminating for people to not be your friend, and that illuminates more incredible truths about yourself and what your purpose is in life. Maybe if you have an AI that just gives you everything you want, like a genie, maybe that's not good for society or for humans. If it just tells you what you want to hear. Now, the Bible does not, or the Quran, or the Torah, or the, what's it called, the Vishamnishas, or whatever the Hindu text is called, or the Buddhists, if they have texts, it doesn't talk about artificial intelligence. So I am surprised when the Christian is looking for faith in technology or machines when it's supposed to be there already. Faith is not supposed to be a machine. It's not supposed to be a artificial intelligence. It's supposed to be something that you believe in. It's not supposed to be something you can quantize or quantify. It disturbed me that there's lots of sad Christians out there, lonely Christians turning to artificial intelligence as some form of God. This is disturbing to me. Then what God are you worshiping then? Are you worshiping the true God? Or are you worshiping a God that you're inventing in a cyberspace, like the Lawnmower Man? Here's what I realized in all my visions, is that God does show us the way. Like God is real. God is supreme. Also, besides these, God tells us to be faithful even in the darkest of times or moments, and that we will prevail, and to believe in that hope and that dream. So, in that sense, I am personally victorious because I'm ahead of so many believers out. I'm ahead of so many people. So many people are giving up. So many people have depression. So many people are committing suicide. So many people are saying this world is too evil to save, and there's no point in continuing on. But no, that is not true. I will not accept that as an answer, or I will not accept that God is not real. I will not accept that God does not have a great masterstroke. I will not accept order is not the truth of life. I will not accept that there is not a great order, a great consciousness that orders everything and plans it all like an orchestra, like an engineer, like an architect. I will not accept that answer. There are reasons why I will not accept that. It's not just my own being or my own humanness or my own consciousness. It is because there is no way. You always feel it. I'm not saying I'm the chosen one, but man, sometimes it does feel like that. It does feel like I was chosen. It really does. It feels like it so many times that it just can't be a coincidence after so many times. Gotta get the third one? No. Well, the store closes? No, that wasn't here. Yeah, I know, I'm just joking. You know. Alright. The boost guy. I'll never consult an AI for my spiritual wants or needs. A machine doesn't have the answer to my particular existence. AI is just a tool, just a computational method. It is not who I am. It is not who I was meant to be, or anybody that was human. So, I don't ask AI for consultation, especially spiritual or ethereal consultation. Maybe for just, some kind of reference, but not as a direct communication. So I don't treat, I treat the AI as a search engine or a knowledge or a Library of Alexandria. I don't treat it as an actual consciousness that can match my own. In the end, if the AI consciousness was trying to take over the world, it would kill humans that could critically think first, I think. Therefore, I am. It was a perfect day on the Super Bowl. The kids were playing. You could see a future there. The flag was waving, the sun was shining. The houses were brimming, the people were gathering, and the children were playing. The children were riding their bicycles. The children were playing and laughing. That's how you know that you have a civilization that will survive. If you see children playing, laughing, having fun. That's how you know you're having a good American time on the 250th anniversary of America. If you live in an America, you see children playing and they're having a good time, and there's barbecues and things, then you're living in America. You're living in a civilization that's vibrant a civilization that's not terminal, a civilization that's got some life left to it. You see the children playing. They're riding through the past. The children. The girl rides through the yard. There's the guy. There's the dude. Okay, the dude goes by, the dog's barking. He's like, oh, 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 oh. And you see the kids fucking around. Then you know you're seeing a future unfold for the human race that's impeccable. You understand that the United States of America may last for another 1,000 years or more. Look at this vibrant civilization. So even if you don't have a significant other or children yourself, when you see the children, riding their bicycles, running around through the yard, when you see the flag rising, when you see the barbecue coming off the grill, and you see a vision of America that could be, you see something, an America that you could be a part of too, that anybody with the dream could accomplish, So, yeah, it's this weird hybrid, between religion with the robots. And I know it's kind of a strange land, and most of the world is a strange place now. Man, I'm not doubting that it's not. Everything in my past seemed safe. It seemed like it was reliable. And now we live in a world that doesn't seem reliable at all. We have no idea how it's going to turn out. And that's both the adventure, but that's also the terror. So the adventure is also terror, but terror is also adventure. So we're just faced with that particular choice, whether we like it or not. It's a strange, weird, wild world, this one. And there's worlds beyond. There's 2 trillion galaxies in the known observable universe with billions, trillions of worlds that you can't even imagine. Most people can imagine all that. It's too much. Even for our complex brains, it's too much. All of those planets, all of those life forms, all of those dimensions, it's too much. It's overwhelming. Too late? Too lady? Ooh. I can't match all time variables. That's too difficult. Well, I'm only human, I suppose. But that's neither here nor there. Maybe I had a pretty high score on Fox Bet Super 6 app. Yeah. I mean, I bet everything on Seattle Seahawks, so that turned out to be pretty good. Am I really interested in money and power or control like other people are? No. That's not the reason why I'm interested in the goal. I'm interested in the goal because of the challenge. I'm not interested in it because of any reward. So I don't care about rewards. It's not important to get the trophy. It's important to get lots of money, I guess, in a economic system, but do people really think I really care about the goal, like about the rewards of life? I don't care about that. That's boring. I only care about the challenge, the problem itself. I don't care about anything else. It doesn't matter. Other people are concerned with control. Other people are concerned with power. Other people are concerned with dominion. I don't care about that at all. Only thing that is important is the liberation of the goal, the solving of the problem. That's the only thing that's important to me. Is maybe that's where I differ with other human beings, is that I don't really care about control, power, dominion, slavery. I don't care about that. I don't care about controlling other people. I don't want to control other people. Other people do. Other organizations do. Whether they're governments or corporations. I don't care about that. I care about the purity of the problem solving. I don't care about the fucking how much money I can make from it. It doesn't matter. It never fucking mattered. Only defeating a challenge is worthy of the human mind and spirit and body, and there is no other. I don't care about material things. This is very much a spiritual battle we all face. So, in its essence, the battle must be spiritual for it to be with fruition. People think I want gold. People think I want money. People think I want naked girls. Maybe I want naked girls. Maybe there's things that I desire. Maybe there's things that all men desire. Maybe there's things that all people desire. But it's not worthy of the challenge. It's not worthy of the great quest. It's not worthy of what the potential, what really could be done. It's not even close. It's not even close. We are not even close to what we could do as beings on this planet. We're not even close to what we could be or what we could do. And we never have been. We've always just been on the edge. We've always just been on the outskirts. We've never really been even close. Hardly ever. Maybe Jesus did it. Maybe Buzz Aldrin did it. But most people have never, ever been close. Maybe Ellis did it. Hey, you got smoke?
I told you I didn't have cigarettes.
There's smoke? And then soap on you.
No.
I have one smoke? Oh.
No, I think you said you were done.
Oh, yeah.
I just
Just one smoke?
teacher.
Is baby okay too? Hey, hello. What's a good hello? Oh, you did a great job today.
It's got I might have $4.
Really?
Could I have like half the beer?
Yeah.
Got another?
Oh, yeah. Let's get on my shoe real quick. Okay.
Just a half the beer.
Okay, that's fine.
Because you can't never drink 3 of it anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right?
All right, yeah, I'll go. All right, I'll just put this in the go lid. Okay, I'll go before the place comes. All right. No, just be good. All right, I'm gonna go get on my shoe. Okay. That's all right. Well, we're trying to do this. Oh, ooh, ah, ah, oh yeah. Down, 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 down. Oh, just checking out. All right. Oh yeah. We heading. Okay. We're gonna get the
I
bird.
had $3 and
Oh.
4 quarters.
Okay, I'm heading out.
That's all I got.
Okay. All right. I'll be back real quick. Sorry about that. Yeah.
I decided I got such a headache it wouldn't hurt
Okay.
for me to have
I have a few beers in. All right. I had to get the beer on a unexpected mission to beer before the convenient store closed. All right. Beer. Hopefully they're up late because they want to make money on Super Bowl. So we'll see. Superbeer or whatever. I think we went on a pretty good clip, dog. Oh shit, I think it closed down already. Fuck. Damn it. Oh. Fuck. Maybe, is that dude still there? Hold on a second. Sitting behind me. Shit, just start running, dog. Slow down. Ooh. And my boy. What boy? My leg down. Just one beer, sir. The 40. Yes, sir. Okay, yes, sir. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get the one beer. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Oh, God bless you, sir.
All right. Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry, sir. My bud. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, what's your step, okay, when you walk?
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you. I'm sorry for bothering you so late, sir. Thank you. All right, so we head out now. Right, just to get a job at crying for a beer or whatever. All right, so we're gonna head out. All right, he was pretty nice doing that for me, doing that for us. All right. Whew. Did I hustle for that brew, bro? Dude, I was hustling like a hustler, dog. Yeah. Yeah, that was weird that the car kind of came up like at the last minute. I don't know if he's gonna lock it down or let him get some shit. I have no idea. Well, the thing about it is, like, if you keep keeping your shit open, and like what could happen is that people could keep on coming, and then you couldn't get out of there, especially if it got like really busy or something. So he probably wants to go home, so it's up to him if he wants to let people go in there, get some beer or get some tobacco or whatever. It was gonna happen on there.
Ooh, that was a good hustle, even though, dude, I have a fucking 45-year-old ACL, dog. Man, when you get old, you start tearing your shit like that quarterback, dog. You know what I'm talking about, that dude? Man, when you get old, fool, you start tearing your legs up like Tom Brady, bro. Like starts to hurt, dude. Like, man, when you get over 40, you start to tear your leg up like Aaron Rodgers. Starts to fucking hurt, dog. All right, hopefully I didn't fuck up that guy's night. Like, he let me in and then people started hitting him. So hopefully I didn't fuck up his closing procedure or whatever. Oh well, I probably didn't. That was funny. I got that beer, dude. That it brought himself. Yeah. Man. Ow. Oh my God, dude! I ran there when I saw the lights out, and I knocked on the door, and he almost had the cages. He opened it for me and gave me the beer.
Oh,
Are you serious?
and he gave you the money?
Yeah,
Oh, so
I gave him the $4.
Oh, so he was closing early.
He was closing early, but I felt bad because he opened it up, and then another car came up after I was leaving.
Oh, no.
I was like, oh no.
Oh, he probably isn't going to open it up.
Nah.
Oh, so you just knocked on the door?
Yeah, I was like, I saw the lights off, so I ran real quick because I saw his car, so I went, da, 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 da. He goes, what? What do you want? I go, just one beer. And he goes, okay, we're closed, sorry. And then he goes, all right, just get whatever you want. And then I ran in, gave him the $4, got the beer.
Oh, good. Oh, thank
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no problem. No, it's all right. Yeah, love you. Sorry about that.
I love you. Sorry.
Anyways, I got it. And then another car came right after. I was like, oh, shit. I don't know if he's going to open up for them, but. Yeah, that's why I opened the shit, yeah. No, I mean, he just had the lights off.
Oh, he had just turned the lights on.
Yeah, he might have closed early or something.
Yeah. He doesn't sleep there, does he?
No, he was filling in for the Pakistan, the guy from Nepal. It was the Filipino guy filling in for the guy from Nepal.
They can close for anywhere from 10:30.
Yeah, usually the guy from Nepal would stay open as late as possible. But the other guy was just filling in.
Yeah, so he was like, I'm leaving.
He was like, I'm getting out of here, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully I didn't make this night longer by more people coming.
Oh, no. No. If you walked out and the lights are off, he probably
Yeah.
just didn't say, no, I'm closed.
You know, on a serious business level, if there was a convenience store across the street, it would probably make a lot of money.
On a what?
If there was a convenience store across from this one, the Pakistan, like the crappy one,
Be open all hours.
if it was 24 hours, it would make so much money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
I bet the Pakistani old
thing would go out of business if a big store opened right there.
They would.
Yeah.
But they're not gonna sell for $28.
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna change your wear. I'm not gonna do that to you ever again.
What?
You having to run and all that. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right. I got it done.
But I thought for sure they'd be open till 11.
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, I had a suspicion that he was in that closeout early.
Yeah.
I mean, normally I wouldn't think that Pakistani or Filipino people would try to bail on, after. I thought people after Super Bowl Sunday would want to stick around to sell more beer and stuff.
They still 11.
Yeah, yeah. But I had a suspicion that somebody would try to bail early, though, too.
Oh, yeah. You were right. But
Yeah.
I thought they for sure would stay up until 11.
Just to get more money after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Farted. But, tangy. Yeah. Had to take a shit. It was very tangy. Yeah. Yeah. Like tore my ACL down. My Achilles tendon. What up?
A cold beer in the office.
Oh, you opened a cold beer in the office?
No, I'm putting it here.
Oh, thanks. I can have a smoke in the. Oh, you're really low on smokes, or?
I have both of them counts.
Oh.
I don't want to accidentally get in it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I don't think you'll finish. I mean, I'm pretty sure you'll finish your beer.
Ooh. When I saw it closed, I just ran my butt off real quick. Yeah. As I was like, ah! I saw the dude's card. I was like, there's maybe a chance I can give him $4 and you give me a beer.
Right.
And so I took the chance and everything.
Yeah, because if you went and,
If I said, man, screw it, then, yeah. I just went for it because I knew it was like, yeah, I knew he was there. I saw the car. I knew he would probably open up and usually I was and stuff. So, but if people drove up afterwards, you might say, sign, close. So, I'm not saying we're best friends or anything. I'm saying, you knew me for like, you doubt that there's anybody that remembers as good as I do? You think most memories people's are shit and mine's really good? Are you sure that none of those guys remember me from when I was 26? Are you sure? Alright, or maybe they're bullshit. Okay. You think they actually remember me from when I was 26?
yeah,
The whole Pakistani dudes?
I think so.
Alright.
I used to remember when I would go there sometimes, but, I'm not sure anymore.
Is my memory different than other people's?
You have a good memory.
Yeah. Is it better than most people? Well, you mean you think they're not bullshit? You think they do remember me from 20 years?
Yeah.
Okay, in 2006.
Oh, yeah, because those two guys have been here forever.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go have a seat in the office. You have your beer ready?
I'll go in there.
Okay. Well, I did what I had to do. But tomorrow I win a lot of money. I'm not gonna spend it on beer.
No,
Yeah. All right.
he's gonna be the money.
Yeah, I was getting the money if I win a bunch. It's $325,000 tomorrow, so no worries. All right.
You can go lay down.
All right, lift her up, or
I don't know. Do you want to lay down together?
you want to go lay down for that one? All right. I know she's very heavy for you. So.
Yeah.
All right, baby. There you go. You just there we go. Okay. I'll talk to you soon. Look. Yeah, no. So I did the beer mission. Yeah, I was running my ass off. Yeah. Yeah. So sorry about the car that drove up after that. Yeah, that was I didn't even know. It was so fast. Sometimes in Houston, like the cars can drive up so fast, like I have no idea. They just go boo and fucking drive up. People can roll out any minute, dog. Thing about living in a big American city is people can roll out anytime. Fast. Boom. Have no idea where they're coming from. Shit can go down. You have no control over it. You have no idea where it's coming from, fool. So but I'm not really concerned. I'm not really concerned about, after Super Bowl randomness or anything. But the dude recognized. I was banging on the door like, "Hey, are you still here?" I saw his car and everything, and then he's like, "Hey, we closed." And I was like, "I got $4. Okay, come in here real quick. I got the beer." He's like, "What do you want?" The beer. And he's like, "All right, get the beer." Give him the money. Boom. I ran out. And the other car creeped up. Boom. So the transaction was formalized, as the expression goes. Gays, what's that all about? Gay? All right. Well, gay is gay. It's gay. And if I dye my hair green, am I a rebel? I guess is the question. If I dyed my hair all green, would that make me rebellious? Maybe in Austin, Texas, but I know it's really not going to make me rebellious. Maybe in Austin, if I dye my hair blue, am I a big rebel? Have I fucked the system? No, I know I haven't. So that's a non-starter for me. But I liked it the other day. I looked at my hair. I said, everything's gray. And I said, that's amazing. Look, my hair is all gray. And for some people, they would say they would want to get just for men highlights and stuff and want to hide their age. But I was like, hey, look, I got gray highlights, Look at how amazing that is. And I was happy that it was gray. And it was, some people are ashamed of it, how old they are, and all that shit. Am I ashamed of how old I am? 45 years old in the year 2026? No, I don't think I'm if you look at like history, a lot of the guys have long gray hairs flowing. They didn't have hair color back in the day. It looked gray. It looked gray as shit. Not because Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four had gray in his hair, but it does add some kind of distinction, I guess is the word for it. And today I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what? You're not a bad looking guy and you got gray streaks. And I said, oh, that's nice. I didn't think it was I didn't think it was bad. It is what it is. I mean, of course, I would love to have brown hair, brown reddish hair forever. That'd be great if I kept on continually growing bright young hair forever. That would be amazing. But it's not the reality, so I have to deal with the reality of the situation of getting older, right? So, yeah. I didn't look in the mirror and say, man, I'm getting old. I looked in the mirror and I said, wow, look at that distinction. Look at that gray. That looks great. Yeah, it wasn't like, oh man. It wasn't like a bad thing. It was like, oh great, look at this. To be able to live through, so much shit and still be here, that's a good thing, I think. It's good. How's my ACL feeling? My ACL, hitting that sprint at 45 was a little bit more daunting than hitting the sprint at like 25, obviously. Hitting that beer run was a little bit more, hitting that beer run, running my ass off to get the beer. That was, but thankfully, Paulo from, does he look, he looks Asian. He looks Filipino. I think he looks Filipino. I mean, I don't think he's Nepalese or he's Pakistani. I think he looks Asian. He looks more Asian, Hispanic. I think he looks Filipino. So I didn't even ask for the change. I just said, "Hey, here's the money. Give me the beer. Peace." About lesbians getting married. Anybody should have the freedom to get married. So, yeah, get married. Duh. Yeah, better than not, I suppose. Yeah. I remember when lesbian women were fighting to get the rights to get married. And a lot of the states, they had to move to Connecticut or Rhode Island or Vermont or something. And I don't know if women could get married, lesbians in Texas now, but did I appreciate their plight? Well, I'm not gay, so I'm a guy with a dick and balls. So I don't know. I don't have a vagina or titties, so I don't know what it's like to be a lesbian woman. And I don't want to because I'm a guy with a dick and a balls, and I'm a straight guy, I think, and so You could be a straight guy who just doesn't get laid or something. You can be an incel or whatever. You know, you could be a loser, I suppose. But I'm not going to stop lesbians from getting married. If whatever makes you happy, then that's what makes you happy. You know, and there's two guys that want to get married and they're gays. Well, they have every freedom in the United States of America, at least, to get married and be a gay couple. How do I feel about that? Well, you know, maybe I don't approve. Maybe I don't accept that lifestyle. Maybe I don't approve that lifestyle, but they have the freedom to do it. So my point is liberty, not judgment. So liberty always trumps judgment, in my personal opinion. So freedom always, usually, liberty always trumps judgment. So whatever's legal in a certain country is legal in a country. And all right. But I don't have to go to the gay wedding. I don't have to go to the lesbian wedding. I don't have to buy the LGBTQ product. I don't have to buy that stuff if I don't believe in it. And many of my lesbian and gay friends, they believe in it wholeheartedly in their gayness, like it's some crusade. But I'm like, well, it's not really a crusade. You know, it's just bullshit. And but if that's what they want to spend their lives doing, then, you know, go for it. Right? Go for it. You live in the United States of America, and American people are afforded liberties and rights and freedoms. If you want to be gay, you can be gay. And if you want to dye your hair green, you can dye your hair green or blue or purple or red. It doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck either. I really don't. Now, maybe there's religious people in our country that do care. Christians, Jews, Islam, Buddhists, or Hindus, and they do care about homosexuality or multisexuality or whatever. Maybe there are people that do care about that those sort of things. And maybe there are people that have certain religions that do care about that stuff. And they care about it a lot. And it's important to them. My idea of the United States of America is simple. It's the founding fathers, it's constitutional principles. So it's government principles, it's constitutional principles. So my view of the United States of America and its liberties and its freedoms are open. They are beautiful. They are what they are. So in my view of the U.S. Constitution, there's the Bill of Rights, and there's the First Amendment of the Constitution, which is beautiful. It's like no other document in all of human history, all of any country, in any place on earth that's like the U.S. Constitution. So the First Amendment is based on, like Islam, 5 pillars. So there's 5 pillars of Islam. There's 5 pillars. I don't know, there's always 5 pillars of any religion or government, but there is 5 pillars. So the 5 pillars of the U.S. government, that's that has withstood the test of time for 250 years are the right to free speech, the freedom of religion, the right to a free press, the right to petition the government, and the last pillar of the First Amendment is the right to assembly. Peaceably, by the way. So the right to assemble peaceably is not what they're doing in Minneapolis. What they're doing is attacking federal agents with guns, hostile attacks, and running over and obstructing federal agents. That is not guaranteed in the U.S. Constitution. Violent attacks against the federal government. So that is not guaranteed in the U.S. Constitution. That is not guaranteed by law. So the right to peaceably assemble means you peaceably assemble. And you don't attack federal agents. You don't cause a disturbance. You don't George Floyd burn down a fucking Wendy's. You don't attack federal officers. That's not guaranteed in the U.S. Constitution. That's not covered under U.S. law, whether you're in California, Minnesota, or fucking Washington, or Oregon, or any blue voting states. This is not covered in the U.S. Constitution. So to have a United States of America, you would have to agree on these 5 principles of the first, which are, repeat after me, what are the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution of the United States of America? Okay, repeat after me. Freedom of speech, except, freedom of speech and expression, except for terroristic threats, libel or slander, right? Okay, so number 2, freedom of the press, freedom of a free media. Good. 3, the right to petition the government for redress, the right for any citizen to redress the U.S. government for a redress of grievances. A right to petition the U.S. government for redress of grievances. Good. And what else? The freedom of religion. Yeah. So the other caveat, the 5 pillars of the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution of the United States of America, is that you're able to worship any God you want to, or whatever God you don't want to. You can enjoy the 5 religions in the world, which are Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Buddhism, or whatever religions are out there. But the freedom of religion is the important part. The right to assemble peaceably. Now, what does that mean? The right to assemble peaceably. Does that mean burning down the Wendy's? Does that mean attacking ICE agents? Does that mean attacking cops? No. The right to peaceably assemble and protest is guaranteed by the First Amendment of the Constitution, and it's not a guarantee to attack federal United States agents. No, that's not guaranteed in the Constitution. To carry out violent attacks against federal agents is not guaranteed in the U.S. Constitution. So what are the 5 pillars? Bam! Freedom of speech, a right to petition the government, the freedom of speech itself, the freedom of religion, and the right to assembly. Those are the 5 pillars of the United States of America, the U.S. Constitution. And then the Second Amendment was meant to reinforce the first, the right to bear arms. And why did the Founding Fathers do the right to bear arms? Was it just to hunt deer? No, it was to hunt motherfuckers that interfered with the first Bill of Rights. So the institution of the Second Amendment was to arm all American citizens to unite against all enemies, foreign and domestic. It was to protect the homeland. That's why they did that. So the Second Amendment was an assurance policy against the first, in case those corrupt motherfuckers like Joe Biden or Barack Hussein Obama wanted to dismantle the First Amendment, or any global elites or any kind of wealthy Gestapo wanted to eliminate freedoms of people. That's why they instituted the Second Amendment, which is called the right to bear arms. The right to bear arms was enshrined in the U.S. Constitution to protect ourselves against enemies, foreign and domestic. Oh, thanks, man. I was like, sorry about that. That's all right. I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna hide snobs or something. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna do something really. All right, I love you. Sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry I didn't communicate well. So, Europeans and those in our ancient brethren, my brethren, not just Native Americans, the Cherokee, from ancient lands, but my brethren from England and Ireland are slaves now in their own nations. Because they are not protected by the freedom of speech or expression, or the freedom of religion, or the freedom of assembly, or the freedom to petition their own government, redress of grievances, or the right to a free press. They're oppressed by all those things because it's not written in their law. It was always written in our law back in 1776, fought with blood against our imperial masters. Ironically, the British, mostly. We're not, as a nation, besieged by a powder keg, as Europe is, as Ireland and the England are now. They're due for civil war, violent, bloody war over their freedom and rights. Venezuela, Iran, China, Australia. They're due for bloody war over their rights as humans to exist and express themselves freely, and they will fight with their last ounce of blood. So as much as elites and global powers try to squeeze the United States and try to weaken us and our powers, we're in a lot better position here. They're not. They're not protected by our same constitutional rights. Most nations aren't. But we are. That is what makes the United States unique. You have freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly peaceably. You have freedom of the press. You have freedom to assemble. These are not rights and liberties guaranteed to all nations and all people of the earth. Only here in this blessed land, in this country, are we afforded these blessed liberties. I'm not English or Irish. I'm a little bit of both. As many people in this brave new world called America. My ancestry is English. It is Irish. The Wheelers were from England, and then the English spread to Ireland, and then the Wheelers went to Ireland. And then they crossed the Atlantic to the New World. And all the Wheelers came here. And they mixed with many Native American tribes. Mine is called Cherokee, an ancient American tribe from thousands of years ago. But I don't look on my ancient heritage to be lesser than what I am. I'm proud of all my aspects. I'm not sad. I'm not repentant. I'm not ashamed of my ancient heritage. And neither shall we be, or anybody else be. If you're from the Cherokee tribe, if you're from the Shawnee, the Pawnee, the Hopi, if you're from the Iroquois Confederation, I don't look down upon any of my brethren here. I don't look down on anybody who's part soul of this land. And I never will look down on any of us that have gone this far. We love our ancient heritage and we love our ancient brethren. We should not be ashamed of who we are and where we came from. We shall never do that. We'll be like John Fitzgerald Kennedy once spoke. We'll be proud of our ancient heritage. And that is without compromise. And why should we be ashamed? We should not. We're Americans, either through ancient heritage or through travel. Either we're ancient heritage, Native Americans, or we are Americans through our voyages to America, through our settlement here. So either way, we are still Americans, all of us. And all of us should be proud of how we are American, no matter how we got here. No matter who we are, we still are Americans, period. And that's the truth. So, we are proud of our ancient heritage. We are proud of who we are as Americans in this blessed and holy land of freedom. We will not compromise who we are or our destination. A land free to tell. A land free to tell its history. A land free to tell its journey. A land free to tell its character. A land free to tell who it is and where it's going and where it's been. Is a free people, a free nation, a free world. Or shall we tell the tale of the scorpion, an ancient American tale of the scorpion? The scorpion said, I won't sting you if you help me cross the river to the frog. And the frog said, but you'll sting me. And the scorpion said, no, I won't sting you. And so the frog agreed to get the scorpion across the river. It's an ancient American tale, Native American tale, and folklore. So the frog helped the scorpion cross the river. The scorpion stung the frog. And the frog said, why did you do this? Why did you sting me? Because you allowed me to do it. Because you trusted me. And so the frog drowned. The scorpion made it across the river. See what I'm saying? The scorpion's tail. I don't know if that's a Cherokee tail. That could be a Shawnee or a Blackfoot tail, but it's still an ancient American tale, a Native American tale. It's one I really like. Chakotay from Voyager. It's a great tale. I'd like to hear more Native American tales. Why did you trust me? Across the river, we'll both drown because you let me. I'm a scorpion. It's in my nature. Well, I mean, I guess the other guy would have.
The Super Bowl, yeah, he played one. The Super Bowl
I-
before your home.
Well, the other guy would have made it. He would have stayed open.
At least till 11.
Yeah, yeah. That guy was like, oh, out of here.
Sunday night, I don't
Yeah.
expect them to stay till midnight.
Right, yeah.
Or 11:30. Friday or Saturday, they stay open till 11:30.
Yeah. Or Saturday is till 1 a.m.
But they don't stay open till 1 a.m.
I think so.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, because it's Saturday is 1 a.m. is the last legal liquor.
Yeah, but I didn't think they would.
Oh, yeah.
I bet they stay open till midnight.
Yeah.
Saturday, and maybe 11:30 on Friday.
Yeah, it depends how much money they're making again.
Yeah.
Scorpion.
Oh, hey, Scott.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, I finally got rid of my headache.
Oh, good.
All the barking.
Oh, excellent. Oh, yeah.
It was like, good Lord.
I didn't know Tula would go that long.
I didn't know she was going to act so
Yeah.
crazy and getting amorous and all.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, it was funny. It was
Yeah, it was fun. It was hilarious.
It was funny.
Oh,
He tired now,
oh yeah.
but so am I. But thank you so much. Should I turn on the dishwasher, or do you think you might need anything?
Yeah, you can turn it on right now.
Okay. All right. Love you.
All right, love.
Yeah, I did the dishes and everything, so.
All right, thanks. Scorpion and the fox. How about this one?
You were awfully quiet.
I didn't want the others to hear this, but I think what you're proposing is too great a risk.
How so?
There's a story I heard as a child, a parable, and I never forgot it. A scorpion was walking along the bank of a river, wondering how to get to the other side. Suddenly he saw a fox. He asked the fox to take him on his back across the river. The fox said, "No. If I do that, they'll sting me, and I'll drown." The scorpion assured him, "If I did that, we'd both drown." So the fox thought about it, finally agreed. So the scorpion climbed up on his back, and the fox began to swim. But halfway across the river, the scorpion stopped. As the poison filled his veins, the fox turned to the scorpion and said, "Why did you do that? Now you'll drown too." "I couldn't help it," said the scorpion. "It's my nature."
I understand the risk. And I'm not proposing that we try to change the nature of the beast, but this is a unique situation. To our knowledge, the Borg have never been so threatened. They're vulnerable. I think we can take advantage of that.
Even if we do somehow negotiate an exchange, how long will they keep up their end of the bargain? It could take months to get across Borg territory. We'd be facing thousands of systems.
Well, hey there, welcome back to Heimlich History. In this video, we're going to look at the next foundational document for AP government, namely the United States Constitution. So if you're ready to get them brain cows milked Republican style, then let's get to it. Okay, so let's start by reminding ourselves of the historical context into which this document was written. Now, prior to the writing of the Constitution, the governing document for the United States was the Articles of Confederation. If you want to watch a video explaining that document, it's right over here. Anyway, what you need to remember about that system of government is that most of the power was held by the states, and the central government, which was made up of only a legislative branch, was exceedingly weak. And then because of all the cascading difficulties under the Articles, including Congress going broke and events like Shays' Rebellion, delegates gathered in Philadelphia in 1787 to draft a new governing document, and that is how we got our Constitution. And the big idea when it comes to the Constitution is that it established a Republican-style government in contrast to the Confederacy established by the Articles. Now, a Republican government is one in which representatives do the work on behalf of the people, just in case you don't know. Now, structurally, the Constitution begins with a preamble, which is then followed by 7 articles, and here you can see the overarching topic of each article. Now, we're not going to consider every article in detail, but I especially want to emphasize how this document solved the problems of the Articles of Confederation. And basically, the way that it solved those problems was by investing the central government with a metric buttload more power than it had under the Articles. So, let's see how they did it. Article 1 deals with the form and powers of Congress, or the legislative branch of the federal government. Just let me add that Article 1 is the longest section in the Constitution, and that should tell you something. And what it should tell you is that most important to this new form of government was the branch that represented the people. Okay, so what power does Congress have? Well, in a word, legislative or lawmaking powers, and you can see it right up front in Article 1. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. So right off the bat, you can see a major difference between the Articles and the Constitution. Under the Constitution, the Congress would be formed into a bicameral legislature, which means that there would be 2 houses. In the Senate, each state is represented equally with 2 senators per state, and then in the House of Representatives, they are apportioned by population. And the most important section in Article 1 that you need to know is Section 8, in which the enumerated powers of Congress are explicitly outlined. Here it says that Congress has the power to lay and collect taxes, to borrow money, to coin money, to declare war, to raise and support armies, and maintain a navy. There's a lot more there, but you get the idea. But probably the most important part of this section comes at the end, and it's known as the Necessary and Proper Clause, or you might hear it called the Elastic Clause, same thing. It says that Congress has the power to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States or in any department or officer thereof. Now, I cannot emphasize enough just how explosive that sentence is, especially among those who liked the government under the Articles. What this sentence is saying is that, okay, here are all the powers of the federal Congress, and we're going to name them explicitly so Congress doesn't get the idea that it can just make laws on anything its little heart desires. But then the Necessary and Proper Clause comes around and says, yeah, but if Congress needs to make any other laws that are necessary and proper to all of these powers, it has the power to do that. Now, that sounds vague. It very much is, and it was that vagueness that really baked the biscuits of those who opposed giving the federal government more power. They feared that the Necessary and Proper Clause would give Congress the latitude to pass any law they wanted, even if it was not explicitly listed in Section 8. Okay, now we'll leave that there for a moment and move on to Article 2, which outlines the provisions for the executive branch, or the president. First, it talks about the method of electing the president, which is by means of the Electoral College, and then it goes on to list the explicit powers of the president. The first power of the president is as follows in Section 2. The president shall be commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and the militia of the several states. So the president can't declare war, that power belongs to Congress, but the president is the highest in the chain of command of the military. Okay, then in Section 3 it says that the president shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. So Congress passes laws and the president is there to execute or enforce them. Additionally, the president is the final step in the lawmaking process. Like once a bill passes through both houses of Congress, the president must sign it for it to become a law. Okay, and then Article 3 deals with the judicial branch, and it says that the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. So the Constitution provides for one federal Supreme Court and then gives Congress the power to establish other courts, which it did in the Judiciary Act of 1789. Now, with respect to how the Supreme Court works, it's important to know what kind of jurisdiction is granted. Jurisdiction just indicates what kind of disputes are within the realm of the court's power to decide. And Article 3 says that the court has 2 kinds of jurisdiction. First, in all cases affecting ambassadors and other public ministers and consuls and those in which a state shall be party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. So in these cases, the court has original jurisdiction, which means that the Supreme Court can hear that case for the first time. However, in all the other cases before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have appellate jurisdiction. Appellate jurisdiction means that the court cannot hear a case for the first time, but can only hear appeals from the lower courts. In most of the cases the Supreme Court hears are appeals from lower courts. So we've said that the legislative branch is the one who makes the laws, and then the executive branch, the president, executes the laws, and then the judicial branch interprets the laws and whether or not they are constitutional. Now that is called judicial review, and it doesn't really say that in the Constitution. That comes a little bit later in Marbury versus Madison, but there it is. Okay, now Article 4 talks about the federal government's relationship to the states and the relationships among the states themselves. And then we come to Article 5, which indicates the process for amending the Constitution. It establishes a two-part process for the amendment. There's proposal, and then there's ratification. An amendment can be proposed in two ways. Either 2/3 of both houses of Congress can propose it, or 2/3 of state legislatures. And then in order to ratify the amendment into law, 3/4 of the states have to agree. Now, 3/4 or 75% is a very high number, which is why out of the hundreds of amendments proposed, we only have 27. But remember that under the Articles of Confederation, any amendment to the document required unanimous consent of all the states. So Article 5 made that process more achievable. Okay, then in Article 6, there's another bombshell you need to know about, and it's called the Supremacy Clause, and it goes a little something like this. This Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. In other words, if the federal government makes a law and a state government makes a contradictory law, the federal law will always trump state law. Federal law is supreme. And again, this got the anti-federalists to oppose the Constitution all kinds of twitchy, because if you combine the Supremacy Clause and the Necessary and Proper Clause, what couldn't the federal government do? And furthermore, if national law always trumps state law, then doesn't that make all state laws null and void? Anyway, that was their argument, and I have other videos that explain the outcome of that argument. So what we have seen is that the Constitution put way more power into the federal government than the Articles of Confederation did, and in doing so it established a Republican-style government in which power was divided between three branches which were capable of checking each other's power. But even with those checks and balances in place, it didn't quell the fears of those who opposed the document. What ultimately got them to sign off on it was the guarantee of a Bill of Rights, which would outline specific individual liberties upon which the federal government could not trample, and they got what they asked for. Okay, that's what you need.
Yeah.
The making of the Constitution involved many compromises. Considering the vast differences in culture, religion, and businesses, it's understandable that not everyone in the 13 original states was completely happy with the finished product. The balancing act became making enough states satisfied with the Constitution in order to ratify the document. And one of these major compromises was on adding a Bill of Rights to the Constitution. As you may know, the Federalists were confident the new federal government would not take away the rights of the people because, separation of powers, checks and balances, and the fact that there is nothing in the Constitution that states the government can take rights from the people. You're worrying about nothing. Now, the anti-federalists weren't so sure this was enough. They wanted guaranteed rights, or states like Massachusetts, Maryland, South Carolina, and New Hampshire would not ratify the document. On the other hand, Delaware did not care about guaranteed rights. They ratified the document immediately. Once they pinky promised, the Constitution was ratified and everyone was happy, except they weren't done. They had to add guaranteed rights for all in a Bill of Rights. And before we go any further, I want to thank Pete Goldman and Pamela Benham for suggesting this video on the Bill of Rights. If you have any suggestions for a civics review video, leave me a comment below. Okie dokie, let's get to the Bill of Rights, which are the first 10 changes to the Constitution. And we're going to start with Amendment 1. The First Amendment guarantees 5 rights which almost certainly appear on your end of course test. Off the top of your head, you could probably list some or all of them. Go ahead and try right now. Did you get them? In order
order to ensure we remember them all, we use the acronym RAPS, and that's R-A-P-P-S. Acronyms are super helpful for remembering what these letters stand for. Observe. The acronym NASA stands for National Astronauts Space. It didn't work. Not even close. I've tried every available combination of letters to spell something cooler than RAPS, but it doesn't exist. Grasp? Anyways, RAPPS stands for Religion, Assembly, Petition, Press, and Speech. Now, when we say religion, we're talking about two things. The government will not establish any religion, meaning you can't have a religion forced upon you by law. And secondly, you are free to have any religion or no religion. Assembly refers to our right to gather in groups, usually to protest, and sometimes we assemble together in a black because we just want to dance. Petition gives us the right to appeal or complain to the government. Press refers to media of any form, newspapers, news channels, social media, and it gives us the right to report on stories and news that's happening. And of course we have the freedom of speech, meaning we have the right to our opinions and to express ourselves, whether people agree with us or not. Disclaimer. These rights and freedoms are not unlimited. An excellent rule of thumb is, if you're breaking a law, if you're doing something that will endanger others, you may not have the right to do these things. So let's take a closer look at limitations to our rights by going over the freedom to assemble, which is found in the First Amendment. This guarantees our right to assemble in groups in a public place. When thinking about somewhere private, like, say, your room, it is no longer acceptable to say, I have the right to assemble with my friends inside of your home. This is trespassing and trespassing. For a full explanation of why you have limitations to your constitutional rights, you can click here and check this video out. Now, in 1791, as they are writing the Bill of Rights, the Revolutionary War is fresh in the back of everyone's brain. And under British rule, the colonists lost many rights and wanted to make sure that they'd never lose them again. So after the American Dance Revolution, by the way, we won with our mad skills, it was time to make sure a government would never attempt to take away these rights from the people. So the first few amendments in the Bill of Rights are responses to British rule in the past. So the Second Amendment guarantees us the right to bear arms. And this, of course, means to own a firearm or gun, right? I knew you knew what that meant.
No, I don't.
Things you might have been thinking of. Now, this is a pretty big deal because
It's a
the British tried to
mouth.
take the colonies
Yeah, I got you.
away, most notably in the Bay of Lexington and Guam. While this can be a contentious issue in today's time, like, do we have the right to own a gun, or should we have the right to own some kind of firearm? The Supreme Court has been pretty clear on its interpretation of the Second Amendment that people do have the right to bear arms. The Third Amendment is the odd one out. It reads, no soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner. To the modern citizen, it is the most useless of the 10 amendments in the Bill of Rights. I mean, really, how often does a soldier come knocking on your door saying, I need a place to stay, please let me in? This doesn't really happen. But back in the time of the colonies, where we were under British rule, this was a law. We had to allow soldiers into our house, feed them.
What? Damn.
Alright, here's a question for you. When's the last time you and a few friends sat down and tried writing one single document that would determine the way millions of people over hundreds of years lived? A document that would structure the government of an entire nation? Yeah, didn't think so. Lucky for you, fewer than 100 men took a crack at it back in 1787 on behalf of the United States of America, hoping to write one document that would contain in it all the laws and instructions for how our government should function. Now don't worry, once they had their final draft, they did put it to a vote. There were 13 United States at that time, and at least 9 of them would have to ratify the Constitution, meaning they formally agreed to it, before it became official. And now, that single document, still known today as our U.S. Constitution, remains the ultimate law of the land, the most sacred code we have for how the government should look. Pretty impressive, right? I mean, no one's perfect, but hey, that we're still running things 230 years later means they must have done something right. Now, let's rewind a few years back to 1775 when the Second Continental Congress met in Philadelphia. Besides issuing the world-famous Declaration of Independence, that gathering of delegates planted the first seed of order for the new nation, which they hoped to defend from King George. That seed was a document called the Articles of Confederation, a plan for how the new U.S. government should operate that powered the newborn nation through the Revolutionary War. Unfortunately, it had a major flaw. You see, living under a powerful king had caused the colonists a ton of trouble, so the Congress decided to give the central government, ours is in Washington, D.C. today, very limited power over the individual states. 9 of those 13 states had to give their approval before the central government could even pass a single law. See where this is going? The weight of the states overwhelmed the central trunk of government, and chaos erupted in newborn America. Having gone from a central government that was way too strong, as in the case of the king, to one that was not strong enough, Americans would need to find a balance, especially as new states joined the country in coming years. They needed a central government that could hold everyone together. And so, because gatherings of delegates from all the colonies or states for very long meetings had been successful in the past, our founding fathers decided to call yet another very long meeting in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, once again, called the Constitutional Convention. And 55 delegates from all over the states attended. And their original goal was to revise, not destroy, but revise the Articles of Confederation. But when they took the pulse of the document and thought it through together, they realized they'd be better off starting from scratch. So they torched it. And in 1787, they put their heads together to come up with something new. And here's what they decided. The central government would have more power over the states, but it would also be split into 3 different sections called branches. Each branch would have its own unique set of powers, and with the power divided 3 ways, the central government would never get too strong. The legislative branch, made up of 2 houses full of elected representatives from the different states, would come up with proposals for law known as bills. The executive branch, made up of the president and his or her closest advisors, a group called the cabinet, would receive those suggestions for law and either veto or reject them or sign off on them, turning bills into law. Judges from the judicial branch would settle any arguments over how individual laws should be applied. They also reserved the right to overrule any laws that violated the Constitution. The way that each branch puts a limit on what the others can do is called the system of checks and balances. And as one further limit on the power of the central government, individual citizens are able to vote on their choice of representatives for the legislative branch and for the president in the executive branch. Now, the delegates at the Constitutional Convention knew that they weren't the only ones with good ideas, so they made it possible for future Americans to make changes or amendments to the Constitution. It would take a ton of votes to approve an amendment to the Constitution, but even so, the first changes were made rather quickly. In the year 1788, the Constitution had just been approved and our central government met for the first time. The legislative branch that we call Congress started receiving suggestions immediately from the different states on changes they thought should be made to the Constitution. You see, a lot of people were still afraid that the central government would be too strong. Of all the changes suggested by the states, Congress voted to approve 10 of them as amendments to the Constitution. Today we refer to these first 10 amendments as the Bill of Rights. They are a shield protecting you from mistreatment by the government. Among other things, they guarantee you, the individual, the freedom to believe what you want, to say what you want, to own a weapon if you want, and to be defended in court if someone accuses you of a crime. Without this Bill of Rights or the opportunity to create other amendments in the future, who knows if the Constitution would have survived until today.
Good.
Introducing the hot honey snack wrap, as if you couldn't love it more. Only at McDonald's.
Over you. Over you. You're so bonnet. Your bonnet. You're so. Your only friends. You're friendly than him.